I'm back with another album review. Today's review is on the soundtrack for Tron Legacy. This is the one and only soundtrack that Daft Punk composed. Tron Legacy was released in 2010 as the sequel to the film Tron from '82, and it was the second movie I ever saw in a theater in 3D. This is also the first time Daft Punk worked with an orchestra. The album was self-produced and executive produced by Joseph Kosinski and Sean Bailey. Joseph is the film's director, by the way. The soundtrack was recorded at Lyndhurst Studios in London, England. It was mixed by Alan Mayerson at Remote Control Studios in Santa Monica. Pre-production took place at Henson Studios in Hollywood. The soundtrack was mastered by Pat Sullivan at Bernie Grundman Mastering in Hollywood. The soundtrack was released on December 3rd, 2010 on Walt Disney Records. This means this is the first time I reviewed the soundtrack to a Disney movie. I also need to mention that Thomas Bangalter previously composed the soundtrack for the film Irreversible back in 2002. I haven't seen that movie nor have I listened to its soundtrack. Anyways, let's talk about the songs. Now, this review will contain spoilers from the movie, so watch this review at your own risk. The intro to the soundtrack is Overture, and it's played during the very beginning of the movie. The next track is The Grid. The track features a voiceover from Jeff Bridges. This voiceover is in the very beginning of the movie. After that is The Son of Flynn. This was played during the scene where Sam Flynn was riding his motorcycle. Next up is Recognizer. The Recognizer was also in the first movie. Up next is Armory. This is from the scene where Sam was being suited up and given an identity disc. That's followed by Arena, which was played during the scene where Sam was put into the arena. We followed up with Rinsler, who is one of the main characters in the movie. The following track is The Game Has Changed. I forgot to mention that the movie received a video game adaptation that was released around the same time. The track after that is Outlands. This is during the scene where Cora picked up Sam and later reunited him with his father, Kevin. The track that follows is Adagio for Tron. This is from when the viewers find out what happened to Tron. On a side note, Bruce Boxleitner reprised his role as Tron in the movie. The track that comes next is Nocturne. One thing I should mention is that time on the grid is measured in cycles. The track that comes next is End of Line. This is the name of the club in the movie, and Daft Punk themselves were DJs. Me and my mom thought that was really cool. What comes next is Derezzed, which was released as a single on December 8th, 2010. Many people, including myself, say that this is the best song on the soundtrack. The cover for the single even shows Daft Punk wearing the same outfits that they wore in the movie. The music video was made as a link inscription. What comes after that is Fall. The song is slightly shorter than the last one. What's next is Solar Sailor. The song is played during the scene where Cora made her recovery. What's after that is Rectifier. The Rectifier is also in the first movie. What follows is Disc Wars. The Disc Wars scene was one of the best parts of the movie. Next up is Clue. Clue was the main antagonist of the film, and Jeff Bridges played him in both movies. The people working on the film used CGI to make Jeff look decades younger whenever Clue was on screen. Up next is Arrival. This is from when Sam, Cora, and Kevin reached their destination. The next track is Flynn Lives, which is when Sam and Cora exited the grid. The second to last track is Tron Legacy End Titles, which is self-explanatory. The credits even said that Daft Punk were the ones who made the music. The finale of the soundtrack is Finale, which is played during the end credits of the movie. In 2020, the complete edition of the soundtrack was released to coincide with the 10th anniversary of the movie. Now, when researching the soundtrack, I read that it peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200, and number 1 of the US soundtrack albums and US top dance/electronic albums. It was also certified gold in France, the UK, and Australia, and platinum in America. The soundtrack was met with mostly positive reviews from critics since it has a 71 on Metacritic. It's just that Pitchfork and Slant magazine thought it was mediocre. Let's be honest, both publications are full of shit. Now for my thoughts. I think this is a great soundtrack. The fact that Daft Punk themselves had a cameo in the movie is a big bonus. On April 5th, 2011, a remix version of the soundtrack was released called Tron Legacy Reconfigured. I haven't listened to the remix album, though. I remember when my mom worked at Movie Stop, the store she worked at held a midnight release party for Tron Legacy being released on Blu-ray. My mom asked to borrow my copy of the soundtrack for the movie, and I let her do that. I heard that Tron 3 is finally moving forward despite being in development hell for a long time. They're actually going to get 9 Inch Nails to do the music. Now, some dumbasses on Twitter have been complaining about it not being Tron without Daft Punk. But then someone responded by bringing up the fact that Wendy Carlos produced the music for the first movie back in '82. Maybe I should review the music by Wendy Carlos at some point. Overall, I highly recommend the soundtrack. Now's the part where I question you. Have you listened to the soundtrack for Tron Legacy? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? What are your thoughts on Daft Punk being the composer for the movie? Have you seen the movie for yourself? Have you listened to Tron Legacy Reconfigured? And let me know in the comments. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to press the notification bell to notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another review.